So the Cowboys just overhauled an entire defensive identity in 48 hours. But the move that nobody is really sitting down and talking about, the one that could flip everything, isn't the draft pick. It isn't the trade. It's a phone call. A quiet, simple phone call that DeMarvion Overshown made before the season even started. And when you understand who picked up on the other end, everything about this defense starts to look completely different. What's up, Cowboys? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Cowboys. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So look, it was reported that DeMarvion Overshown, whose rookie contract expires after this season, has hired David Mulugeta to represent him. Now, if that name doesn't immediately mean something to you, let me paint the picture real quick. Mulugeta represents Micah Parsons. He represents George Pickens. He accumulated over $1 billion in contracts from ground zero. This man's entire job, his #1 priority every single morning he wakes up, is getting his players paid. And now he's got Overshown on his roster. So you tell me, you think Overshown is coming into this season playing it safe? You think he's going to coast? No. This man is going into a full contract year with the most aggressive agent in the business in his corner, and honestly, I think that changes the entire energy of this linebacker room. Now here's where it gets interesting, right? Overshown has had his injury issues. I'm not going to pretend that didn't happen. We've seen the Costco sample sizes, those flashes of brilliance where you're sitting there like, man, this guy is special. And then something happens and we're back to square one. But you know what? We saw something similar with George Pickens last season. Over 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns, 93 receptions, one big season, and now everybody's debating whether he's worth $28 million or $40 million. That's what one motivated, healthy contract year performance can do for a player. And I genuinely believe Overshown has that kind of season in him, especially now with Christian Parker coming in to run this defense. Speaking of which, I'm putting a lot of faith in Christian Parker. I know he hasn't done it yet at this level, but I'm seeing things differently this time around. You add the youth, you add Marcus Dixon, Ryan Smith, and this new cast of characters, and I'm telling you, it is impossible. I'm declaring this right now. It is impossible for this defense to look like what we put on the field the last 2 seasons. We were ranked 31st, borderline 32nd. That cannot happen again with this personnel. It just can't. So let's see what happened with Overshown. We now move to the draft, which I guess is the hot topic for all of us, and where I've been spending most of my time. And I've got grades for every pick that I want to walk you through. But before moving to the grades, I must tell you the Cowboys did what they were telling us all this offseason. I mean, they immediately identified the problem, defense, and they rightfully rectified it. They have picked 5 defensive players on 7 picks. Like, this tells everybody how focused they are. So let's start with the one everybody's been buzzing about. Caleb Downs, A+, no debate, done. You know what sealed it for me? I heard that when his name got called, an Eagles fan, a real-life Eagles fan sitting nearby, looked over and said, I hate to say this, but y'all got the best player in the draft. When the enemy is giving you your flowers, you know you did something right. Caleb Downs is that kind of prospect, and the Cowboys landing him felt almost spiritual when you think about it. Caleb, I mean, that's a name straight out of Scripture. The guy who went and checked on the Giants and came back saying, we ain't afraid. That's the energy this kid is bringing into this building, and I'm here for every second of it. Next up, Malachi Lawrence, and I'm giving him a B+. Look, the way they arranged to get this guy, the chess moves involved, that alone bumps the grade up. But when you actually sit down and watch his tape, you start to realize this kid could be one of those guys that sneaks up on the entire division. Think about it. He went to a smaller school, right? So opposing offenses haven't had to game plan for him. They don't have a ton of film. And now you're dropping him into a system where he's playing alongside Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark, guys he's never shared a field before. That combination of fresh eyes from opponents and elite teammates around him, Malachi Lawrence could genuinely surprise people this season. Now, Jaishawn Barham, originally I had him at a C, but I've been going back and watching more tape, and I'm upgrading him to a straight B. The comparisons to Frankie Louvu are real when you look at the measurables. 6'3", 240 pounds, 80-inch wingspan, quick twitch, explosive off the line. He's got the kind of speed and elusiveness that fits perfectly into what this defense is trying to do. If he develops the way I think he can, we might be looking at a future A grade, but right now, B is where I'm landing. Then on pick 112, round 2, Drew Shelton gets a B from me, and I'm keeping that grade exactly where it was. Solid pick, good football player, fits what they need. No reason to move it up or down right now. Devin Moore, pick 114. Look, I still don't love the way he turns at the top of his routes, and slow feet don't eat in this league, I'm sorry. But the tools are there, the height is there, the speed is there, and those things can be refined with the right coaching. I'm giving him a C+ instead of a C- because I do think the ceiling is real, but he's got work to do. He cannot come in here with those footwork issues and expect to stick on this roster. Then round 4, pick 137, LT Overton gets a C from me right now. And Anthony Smith at pick 218, wide receiver. Honestly, he's going to have to fight. It's going to be a real battle just to make this team. I hope he proves me wrong, but right now, the grade reflects where things stand. Overall, when you average everything out, this draft class sits right at a B, maybe a B+, depending on how development goes. And you know what? I'll take that. I'll gladly take that. Now let me talk about something that doesn't get enough attention, the undrafted guys. Because Cowboys fans, we know how this goes. Miles Austin, Kevontae Turpin, Terrence Steele. Undrafted, made millions in this league. The Cowboys have a history of finding these guys and turning them into real contributors. So don't sleep on Michael Trigg. This kid can jump out of the building. He's got big hands, and while he's not a blocking tight end, which is actually why he dropped, as a vertical red zone target, he's exactly the kind of guy that can pull jump balls out of the sky. And then there's Jordan Hudson out of SMU. Look, you know how SMU wide receivers go. Cole Beasley came from SMU. Jordan Hudson has that same hungry, proven energy that undrafted guys always carry. And sometimes that chip on the shoulder is worth more than any draft grade. Now let me shift back to this defense for a second, because I put together a before and after comparison of what this unit looked like last season versus what it looks like right now, and the difference is real. We converted from a 4-3 to a 3-4, right? So immediately, Quinnen Williams moves to the outside. You've got Kenny Clark anchoring in the middle. On the edges, replacing what we had before, you're now looking at LT Overton and Rashan Gary. And I'm sorry, but I've got the edge on the youth on that one. That's an upgrade. At corner, Kobe Durant is a guy I'm genuinely excited about. Deron Bland coming back healthy, and Caleb Downs is that chess piece safety nickel hybrid that Christian Parker is going to move around pre-snap and post-snap to create confusion. And I didn't even get into PJ Locke or Darian Kendrick, who honestly could give Deron Bland a run for his money if his foot gets right. And look, I know people are sleeping on Sam Williams. I know y'all have complicated feelings about him, but hear me out. This man has always been a 3-4 guy, even back at Ole Miss. With less than 600 snaps when he was healthy, he had 4 forced fumbles and over 8 sacks. He's going into a contract year. He's got everything to prove. And in this new scheme, in this new defense, Sam Williams could genuinely be the stone that the builders rejected, becoming the chief cornerstone. I'm saying it out loud right now. The bottom line is this: I cannot sit here and tell you this team finishes dead last on defense. I just can't see it. With Christian Parker running the scheme, Caleb Downs as the anchor in the secondary, Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark up front, Overshown hungry in a contract year, and a draft class that I'm grading at a solid B overall, this defense has the pieces to be a legitimate top 10 unit. And when you pair that with a top 5 offense that was already scoring nearly 28 points a game, you're starting to look like a team that can actually compete for this division. That's where we're headed, Cowboys Nation. And I don't know about you, but I've been waiting a long time to say that with a straight face.